my channel, The Sugar Sean. I'm back for another video. I upload weekly videos on dating, lifestyle, and fashion, so if that's what you're into, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, hit that little bell. That way you'll be notified every single time I upload a video. I'm a life and dating coach and the author of 3 books. I'll be sure to link all 3 of my books below so you guys can check them out. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. This is going to be 5 online dating tips for women. All right, so tip number 1 is to be flexible about the small stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, we all want a man who is 6 foot with a 6-pack making 6 figures, okay? But what if he's 5'11", okay? I say that because that was the case for me. My husband is 5'11". If I had been so particular about that 1-inch difference, I would have missed out on a really great guy. So I think it's really important that there's a little bit of wiggle room in what you want. Don't get me wrong, it's all right to have a general idea of what you want, but you don't want to be so like closed off to the possibility of someone being maybe a year or 2 older, a year or 2 younger. You might be a cougar out here, okay? You might be getting your cougar on for all you know. He may be from another city, another state, another town, who knows? Just be open, be flexible, and that way you never know what kind of possibilities that can open up for you. You always want to expand and widen your dating pool. The more narrow and specific you are, the harder it is for you to find someone. Open up a little bit, be flexible, okay? Now, online dating tip number 2 is to temper your expectations. Now, I know that a lot of us, when we were younger, you met a guy or you were talking to a guy, he seemed really nice, and the next thing you know, you're doodling your first name with his last name. You got hearts and stars and rainbows and all of that. Don't get me wrong, even if wanting to be married is a part of your end game, don't be thinking about that on the first date. Don't be thinking about all of that. You're just going out to have a good time and to see where things go. I think it's really important that you take all the pressure off of yourself by feeling like this guy has to be the one. I'm 30, I'm ready to have a kid, I'm this, I'm that. No, just take all that pressure off of you, all that pressure off of him, all that pressure off the date, and just have a good time. You never know. Even if this guy isn't the guy and he's not the one, maybe his brother is, maybe his best friend is. Like, who knows where that night could lead? Every guy you date is not meant to be your husband. Every guy you date is not going to be the one, but he can be a friend, or who knows, you might like him for your girlfriend, you might like him for your sister, who knows what it could be. Just open up to the possibility and just be open to having a good time and let things go from there. Take all the pressure off of dating and just have a good time. Now, this one is really, really important because, you know, I would much rather say that a man lied to me than to say I never asked. Just because you're being pursued by a man, just because a man seems single, just because a man's not wearing his wedding ring, all of that doesn't mean that he's single. So if you've been following my channel for a long time, you may have heard me talk about the story where I was being pursued by a married man and didn't know it. And you know, there's nothing worse than a man trying to make an unknowing, unwilling mistress out of you. Thankfully for me, you know, we had a mutual friend who kind of gave me the heads up, told me when to show up, where to show up, what time to show up, and that's exactly what I did, and that's how I found out. Do not assume that if you're being hit on, that you're being hit on by a single man, because married men want to know if they still got it. Married men are out here looking around too sometimes, so you want to make sure that you never get caught up. So that's actually one of the reasons why I partnered with a brand called Ben Verified, because there's so many times where you're being lied to and you don't know it. Some men don't tell you everything because they want you to fall for them first, and then they slowly but surely tell you things that could have been a deal breaker, but by then you're already stuck. 53% of people lie on their dating profiles. 1 out of 10 dating profiles is fake, and 42% of the people on Tinder aren't even single. So what Ben Verified is all about is providing you with access to public information that makes it better and easier and makes you feel safer in the dating world, okay? So, you know, what they do is they scan millions of public records and they'll give you a report in seconds. On that report, you'll find important, very, very important, vital details like criminal record, bankruptcies, traffic record, employment record, social media accounts. Sometimes people have like a single looking one and then a married one with kids. Like, you never know. That's why it's really important, like I said, trust but verify, okay? We eat catfish, we don't become it, okay? So if you don't want to get catfished, it's really important that you protect yourself and make sure that if you have any doubts about someone, that you verify that. And that's what Ben Verified is all about. I'll be sure to link them below, and if you use that link below, you can save 15% off of their services. All right, so online dating tip number 4, do not ignore the red flags. Red flags and deal breakers are things that you really have to pay attention to, and pay attention to them as early as possible. If you see certain things in the very beginning, that's when you cut it off. That's when you get out of there. That's when you leave. The longer you stay in relationships, even if you know there are things that you don't want to accept, the harder it's going to be for you to end it if that's ultimately what you decide to do. And so if you're dating a man and he's only available between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. and you're like, he goes through the night, you're like, okay, where does he go through the night? You know what I'm saying? Or the man tells you he has no kids, there's a car seat in the back every time he comes to pick you up. If you have this gut feeling that something's not right, don't ignore that. That's your women's intuition kicking in, trying to warn you, trying to spare you. Never ignore that small, still voice that always tells you when something is not right. If he's telling you 2 + 2 = 5, you have to be wise enough to say, well, that's not adding up. And that's when you leave, when you feel like you're being lied to, when he's not being completely honest with you. All right, so online dating tip number 5 is don't be hard on yourself if things don't work out. Like I said before, every guy that you date is not meant to be your husband. He's not going to be the one. Just make sure that you're not hard on yourself. Like, why didn't he like me? What's wrong with me? Why didn't he call me back? It must be me. It must be how I look. It must be how I sound. It must be this. Stop having all of these internal dialogue conversations with yourself about what you could have done wrong. He may have thought you're a really good girl and I'm kind of a dog, so I'm not going to waste your time, or I'm not going to do that to somebody's daughter. How do you know that that's not what he's thinking? Don't automatically assume all of the negative, that it could be something wrong with you, or something about you may not have been right. There could be so many reasons. That man might have been married and was like, do I really feel like, who knows? Who knows what his reasoning is for why he didn't call you back or why he didn't ask you out for a second date. Don't assume there's something wrong with you. Don't play that game, okay? You don't need every guy that you go out with to be into you. You just need that one guy that's into you, that one guy that you're gonna spend your forever with, that one guy that's the one. And every guy that you go out on a date with is not gonna be that. So it's okay. Okay, you want a guy who's just as into you as you are into him. As a matter of fact, I'll be sure to link that video below for you guys. I have a video about 5 signs that he's into you and 5 signs that he's not into you. I have 2 of those videos. I'll link a few of my favorite videos like this one below for you guys to check it out. Huge thank you to Ben Verify for sponsoring a portion of today's video. I genuinely appreciate it. And if you guys use the link below, you can save 15% off of their services, which I think is awesome. Trust but verify. When in doubt, check it out, okay? You definitely don't want to get catfished in this day and age. Nobody has time to fall in love with somebody who's not being completely honest and authentic with you, okay? Everybody deserves to be loved in an honest and genuine way. So that's what I really like about their services. So be sure to check them out. If you like this video, you'll love my last one. I'll be sure to link it for you right here. Be sure to subscribe right here. Till next time, later divas and dudes. Deuces, honey.